Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Using Technology/Mobile Apps for Engagement and Retention. My name is Zach Stewart and I will be your producer for today's event, and I'm just going to run over a couple housekeeping slides before we get started. This event is being recorded and audio is now broadcasting. You should be hearing my voice through the audio broadcast. Audio is provided via your computer speakers, but if you need to connect via phone, please let us know in the All Questions box right underneath the slides, and we will get you connected. The recording for today's event will be available after the event's conclusion. This training is supported by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The contents of this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of SAMHSA, the Center for Mental Health Services, the Center for Substance Abuse Treatment, the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention, or DHHS. The training should not be considered a substitute for individualized client care and treatment decisions. We are providing captioning for this webinar. Click the link on your screen to access live captions. We've also provided this link in the All Questions box, so you can click on that at any time. Captions will open in a new window or tab that you can position anywhere you like on your screen, and you can adjust the size, color, and speed of the captions. Your line will be muted throughout today's event, but we do have several polls and a public chat for you to contact our presenter and your fellow participants. If you have questions for our presenter, please use the questions box, and we'll address them throughout today's presentation as well as at the end during our Q&A session. Again, that questions box is right underneath the slides and is labeled All Questions. And if you need technical support at any time, you can type your questions into that box as well. You can also raise your hand or give us several icons if you need assistance by going to the top of your screen and clicking on that downward arrow right next to the little figure of the person raising their hand, or just click the little figure. And with that, I'm going to pass things over to my colleague, Ian Listman, who will be our moderator for today's event. Ian, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks a lot, Zach. And yes, I'm Ian Listman. I'm going to moderate. I'm with Advocates for Human Potential, and I am a member of the Behavioral Health HIV TA team. So I'm just going to briefly introduce the rock star that we're going to have presenting, Carlos Morales, and then after he gets done with his presentation, I'll attempt to field your questions, and then I'll go over a few items about TA at the end. Carlos is the founder of Viva Technology, LLC, a company that provides online marketing services to small and medium-sized businesses and nonprofit organizations. He was a former senior systems analyst at the Minnesota Institute of Public Health for more than 18 years of experience in the field of technology and prevention, including system setup, troubleshooting, web design, and development. He provides training on topics related to prevention and technology. Mr. Morales also co-developed a booklet called Social Media or Social Mania, a parent's guide that helps bring kids and their parents together so they can safely navigate their way through today's world of social media. And boy, isn't it a wild world of social media. So without further ado, here's Carlos.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I'm going to actually start sharing my screen here. And here I am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ian, for the introduction. Thank you for being here again, and I appreciate it. Always taking, time of your busy schedule to attend another webinar about technology. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And so one of the things that I wanted to do, this is going to be a little bit of a, it's a little bit different than the previous webinars because we're going to be talking more about technology and mobile apps that you can use. Yes, we'll touch a little bit based on social media and some of the apps that we've talked about, like Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. But the idea is to sort of give you an introduction in terms of what else you can do when it comes to using mobile apps. And so As always, I welcome questions, comments as I go along. This is more of a conversation rather than just me talking at you. I want to hear from you. I want to have a sense of what you're struggling with. And so, so let's actually go to the next slide here and talk about today's objectives, okay? So, all right, so we're going to be talking about why it's important for you to actually include mobile technologies as part of your communication strategy. I think this is something that needs to, every organization must have because, as you know, now everyone is actually using mobile devices as a way to communicate with each other, as a way to access information. So using mobile technology as a tool, as a strategy to communicate with your audience, it's a must. It's not an afterthought, but it needs to be part of your strategy. Number two, we're going to actually identify 3 technology tools used for engagement and retention. In fact, we're going to do a little bit more than 3. We're going to actually talk and explain about some of the tools already available for you to use and how you can use them to create engagement, how you can use them to communicate with your audience. And then we'll talk about also strategies for mobile technologies to support substance abuse and HIV programs, engagement, and retention efforts. Again, we're going to actually give you some examples of how these tools are being used by other organizations. So the first part is we're going to talk about the tools, and then we're going to talk about how they can be used. And again, we're going to be welcoming any questions and concerns and comments that you may have along the way. Now, here's one thing that I want to start with, though. As you know, when you register for each of the webinars that we've done, there are questions that we ask, because we want to get to know you a little bit better. We want to know what are some of the things that you're struggling with. We want to know, what are your concerns. We actually read your comments. We'll look at that information because we want to make sure that we answer that during the webinar. And if we haven't been able to do that because of the lack of time, we want to make sure that if you request free technical assistance, that we will actually answer those. We will answer those questions during the TA that we provide to you. Okay, and so, so I wanted to, touch base a little bit in terms of the question that we asked you, just to have a sense and sort of set up the stage for the rest of the webinar. And so, as you know, if you register for this webinar, these are the 4 questions that we ask, right? Number 1 is what mobile apps are you using for engagement and retention in your program? So I have actually a screen right next to me, next to my computer, so I'm looking at the questions and I'm looking at the presentation here. And so, a lot of you actually are using apps that everybody else is using. So, Instagram, Facebook, some of you are using dating apps. Because you're reaching a population that they're already there, they congregated there, and dating apps seems to be the right way to approach them and to be there and to present your program and services there. So we have a Snapchat, Twitter. So these are very common, right? So Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and dating apps. Those are the apps that for some of you are working for you, or you started actually using, right? But in terms of the content that you're producing, to sort of actually create the engagement that you want for these mobile apps, we ask that question too. And so, some of you actually say, well, we're trying to create some educational content. We don't know. Some of you say, well, we don't know what kind of content to create. So even though you have selected some of the apps, you still don't know what kind of content should go with the platform that you're using, okay? And so, and Joanna, Kimi, thank you so much. You're using Facebook. Thanks for also putting that in the chat, in the chat pod. So, some of you are mentioning, well, we created pictures, videos, we do quotes, and post that on the apps. We also post our events in the apps as well. And you do some mental health service recruitment, mental health awareness. So, pretty much is, as I'm looking at the answers here, it's nothing out of the ordinary, right? And so what you're posting has to do with the services that you provide, but some of you actually don't know what kind of content you need to create, okay? So now, remember that we've done webinars in terms of content strategies, okay? And so as I'm actually reading your answers, I want you to start thinking, okay, in terms of what is it that you're going to do in the next, 4 to 5 days in order for you to start creating good content, in order for you to start selecting the right platform based on where your audience is congregated. And so I want to make sure that you start sort of actually putting some action bullets in terms of what it's going to require, on your end in order for you to start taking action in some of these items. Number one is if part of actually the I don't know answer to some of this question is because you haven't had the training or the technical assistance, please request it, okay? It's free, so there's no cost to you, okay? And so if this is something that you need right away, request it, because it takes some time to schedule it. And so the sooner that you request it, the sooner we'll be able to help you, okay? And so when it comes to what's the number one problem, and let me actually go back here, what's the number one problem that you're having in promoting your program by using, mobile apps or any other type of technology? Well, some of you say, well, it's starting from basics. We don't know. What are some of the things or concepts that we need to be aware of? I get it. And so if that's one of the issues that you have and you are in the position of requesting free TA, let's get that done. Let's start from the basic and let's help you develop a strategy and let's help you implement it. Let's actually get it done in the next few weeks. Another answer was, well, building an audience. You don't have that many followers, or you actually creating content and there's no engagement, right? And so connecting with your demographic. So all these struggles that you're having are very common. But the reason why these struggles are happening is because for the most part, most likely you don't have a strategy behind it. So in other words, you don't have a plan. You don't know who your audience is or what kind of content would your audience need to engage with each other. And so because you're lacking a strategy, and you most likely are just creating content for the sake of content, you're not seeing the results, okay? And so, but we can solve that problem. It's very easy to solve if we actually know exactly what the goals we need to reach. We put the tasks that actually are going to help us reach that goal, and then we'll start implementing, okay? And so I want you to start thinking now in terms of what are the things that you need to do in order for you to get TA, in order for you to actually get the help that you need, so we can get you up and running in no time. And so that's the goal. That's why we want to do this. I mean, we're doing this webinar as a way for you to create awareness, to educate on the specific issues and the specific topics, but at the same time to let you know, look, we understand that an hour and a half is not enough time, right? But you understand there are some concepts that you need to know. There are some strategies that you need to have in place. You understand all those things, but what we're saying is, well, we can come down and help you. And so we provide personalized TA in a way that it will be able to answer your questions and will be able to actually get you up and moving without you continuing to struggle as time goes on, okay? And so as I'm looking at the answers to these questions, these are very common answers, and I don't want to continue seeing them, because I want to be able to help you as much as I can through the webinars and the personalized TA. And so, and let me tell you this: when we actually asked, would you be interested in receiving a one-on-one social media or mobile app, free technical assistance? A lot of you, in fact, almost 30 of you actually said yes. And then when we asked, how soon do you want it? Because there's a reason why we asked that. Because we want to actually have a sense in terms of how soon do you want this TA, whether it's right now, whether it's within a month, whether it's within 3 or 4 months during the summer, so we can plan ahead. And, almost those, out of those 30 that said yes, 29 of you said as soon as possible. And there's one actually that said within, next week, within 1 week. So I know there's interest. I know that you guys want it. The question is, are you requesting the TA? So you need to do that. If you want technical assistance, you need to request it. And so that part is going to be talked a little bit more towards the end of the webinar, but I want to highlight it because I think it seems to me that, we sort of actually miss that portion of it towards the end of the webinar because, we run out of the time, and so we sort of actually, go a little bit faster towards the end. And so I want to make sure, though, that you take advantage. This is free to you. You're not paying anything, and so take advantage, okay? If you want it as soon as possible, that means that in the next 24 or 48 hours, you need to go to the online form and request it because it takes time. You go back between you and your GPO. There's phone calls that need to happen. Then we have to schedule it. So because of the time that it takes, that means that you actually need to take action now because otherwise it's gonna take a lot longer. Okay? So, all right, Moises, what's the process to get one-on-one social media? Guess what? We're going to be actually talking about that towards the end, but there's a link, and we'll show you the link towards the end that you can actually go, click on it, and request TA, okay? There's a form that you actually need to fill out. And Ian will actually touch a little bit more on that. And so, all right, so let's start. So I just wanted to give you a sense in terms of what I'm seeing based on the answers that you had given us, okay? You're struggling with some of the engagement. You're struggling with reaching the right audience. Some of you, you want to go back to the basics. You want to sort of actually know how to set up the right foundation. We get it. We can help you do that, as we have helped other grantees as well. And so a lot of you, probably about 75, 80% of you want TA right away. Okay, so request it. All right, and we'll touch a little bit more on that. So let's actually go now and start the presentation for today. So let me start with giving you an overview of the mobile trends. And I want you to start thinking now, as you're listening to me, listening to this presentation, listening to some of the stats that I'm providing you, why it's important that you also include mobile devices as part of your online communication strategy, okay? And so when you look at this graphic, all right, again, and I want to make sure that as you look at this, you also are looking at the numbers that you're seeing there, because you're seeing the growth that is happening. It has happened from 2008 all the way to 2016, right? And so you as adults now spend over 5.6 hours per day on the internet, all right? 5.6 hours a day using the internet. Now, including over 3 hours on mobile compared to under 1 hour per day in 2011. So look how much it has grown, okay? Now, here's one thing that I want to ask you. Based on these actual stats, how many of you are using your mobile devices more than your desktops when it comes to looking at information online or accessing your social media profiles? If you're using your mobile devices more than your desktop, type yes. If you're using more your computer, your computer at home or in the office, just type no. But if you're using your mobile devices more than your desktop to access information online, just type yes. Okay, so we have Roxanne say yes, Kimi no, Edgardo, Giovanna, Moises, all of these are saying, all of you have saying yes, Steven, Danny. So think about you. You as a professional, as an individual, are using your mobile devices even to access information from work, and to access personal information as well. So that tells you that most likely your audience is doing the same. All right. So basically, if we are conducting or are creating content, or we have a website, right, in which we are driving traffic to a website because we're promoting a specific service. Remember we've talked about landing pages before. The question is your website a mobile device friendly? Does it look really nice when people are looking it through using their smartphones, or they're using a tablet or an iPad? And so these are the things that you need to be actually thinking about. And by saying this, when you are creating content to your audience, you know that your audience doesn't have to wait any longer to go back to their houses. They don't have to go back to their office to look at the content. They're actually doing it and getting it right there, in their smartphone. And so that means that you can actually create, instant action from your audiences, because they're always connected to the information. They're always actually, the information is right there available to them, because they're using smartphones, they're using mobile devices, and they have them with them 24/7, right? So the reason why I want to show you this is because I want you to start thinking more. If mobile apps is, it should be part of our online communication strategy, and we know there are people that are using it, then how do we go about creating a strategy in which we take advantage of that, okay? All right, so let's actually go now to the next slide. Look at this in terms of targeting and creating personalized content. Look, we got Facebook, Google, and Snap, which is the parent company of Snapchat. They continue to improve their ability to target ads for specific users. Now, think about this. Google, Nextdoor, Foursquare, Facebook, and Uber, okay, they're experimenting with hyper-local advertisements that appear when a user is near a store's physical location. Here's what happens. I want you to start thinking more how some of this technology can help you. Let's suppose if you are, an organization that provides HIV care services, or you're providing HIV testing services, right? What would happen if all of a sudden, somebody's actually walking by your clinic or walking by your organization, and they actually get in their mobile app an alert that says that there are actually services available in regards to HIV, or there are actually services available, social services, whether it's employment, whether it's housing, whatever that is. As they're passing by your organization, they get an alert and say, look, if you know someone, if you're interested in learning more about the symptoms that we provide, these are some of the services that we provide, things that we can help you with. This technology is already available. It has happened to me as I actually walk in, I'm around a specific store. If I actually get, logging into my Facebook, I see ads, because what happens is the technology, is actually Facebook knows where I am, and actually knows that there is a store just a few feet away from me. And therefore, they're going to actually serve that ad to me based on the interest that I have on my profile. And so I think that's powerful. The thing is that this is something that we can use also for health-related, for substance abuse prevention, for HIV care services, okay? And so I want you to start thinking in terms of how we can use this in a way that actually it's going to produce results to you, okay? In a way that actually you can create engagement to the audience. And so the technology is already there. We actually are seeing it, that businesses are using it for their own consumers. We can do the same when we're talking about prevention, intervention, and treatment, all right? Any questions, comments so far? If you have any questions, let me know. I wanted to, okay, so Wilma is actually making a point here, and I want to make sure that I highlight this on the chat box. She said, be aware that you need to consult with your GPO before requesting TA. Once you have spoken, the process is easy. Go into Sparse, fill out the request, and submit. So you need to have the first thing that needs to happen, you need to have a conversation with your GPO. So as you know, there is a process. So the sooner you initiate that, the sooner we can actually help you, okay? Again, towards the end of the webinar, Ian will be able to actually provide more information in regards to that. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the trends in mobile technology and digital media now. All right. And so I want to make sure that we are seeing this, and you understand the possibility, you understand the potentials that we have when it comes to mobile technology. All right. So when we talked about chatting, and I don't know if you actually have had that experience in which, you might actually go into a Facebook page, or you might be visiting a website, and all of a sudden you see a chat box that shows up. And the person is actually saying, there's anything that we can help you, let us know. If you have any questions, let us know. And so, that's another way of creating engagement, because what happens is, you got to think about this. You have visitors into your site, and there are people that actually feel more comfortable actually chatting with you than actually having and calling you. All right, and so it's a way for you to start actually engaging with your potential clients, for people that actually might be interested in your services. And so when we look at this, and we look at the possibilities in terms of actually using chatbots and using all this technology, you will be able to realize that, for example, if you have a Facebook page or even an Instagram page, you can create these automated messages. All right. And it's not hard to create them. Even within the sentence, you can create them in a way that when somebody actually become a fan, or they like your page, or they follow you on Instagram, there's already a message that actually can actually be created and be sent to that person. That's actually a way for you to start creating engagement. So if you're actually trying to introduce a program and you're trying to introduce yourself as an organization, these are things that you can actually do easily because it's within the settings or your business page. So there's nothing else that you need to do. It doesn't cost you any money. It's just part of the settings, okay? And I wanted to show you this because I want to make sure that you understand that conversations include messages initiated by businesses and consumers, okay? So customer service is shifting to chat, okay? So there's a rapid rise in the percentage of customer service conversation happening via real-time online chat instead of phones, as user demands faster response times and wider access. So look at that. Data is telling us now that users, they rather actually have instant responses, right? They want to be able to reach someone right away. And if they do it via chats, because it's personalized, you're talking one-on-one, right? And because it actually happens instantly. It's the same thing. There's a lot of people that actually rather text than actually call, right? You can actually carry out a whole conversation by texting. The same thing is actually with chatting. And we know now that all the social media platforms out there are offering that feature, okay, as part of your business presence, as part of your business profile. So I wanted to actually show you, these are some of the tools that you can actually start using and, right away. If you have a Facebook page, if you have an Instagram account, even if you have a Snapchat, but you want to make sure that as you're using them, you know exactly what the goal is. Okay, you want to make sure that there's a goal behind it. What do you want? You want to actually increase engagement. You want to increase retention. What about if you actually are running a group, right? And you have a group, and how do you actually maintain that engagement? You can create Facebook groups, and within the Facebook groups, you can actually create also automated messages to create reminders for when the next session is going to be, okay? And so there are many ways that you can do that, but I wanted to introduce you to some of these technologies. You start thinking strategically, start thinking, oh, I can actually use this in this way. I think it can help us in sort of actually create, in the retention rate for the attendees of our groups. And why? Because you're already communicating with them in that way as well. So you're not using something that they don't know that doesn't exist, okay? So now let's look also at the, mobile social networking apps as of November 2017. If you look at that, this statistic gives information on the most popular social networking apps in the United States as of November 2017. You got Facebook as the number one, and we know that. So, but here one thing that I want you to look at, I want you to look at Facebook Messenger app, okay? It had a monthly mobile audience that actually reached 103.15 million users. Facebook Messenger, okay? Remember that you have your Facebook page, but it's also the Facebook Messenger. The app itself is being used by a lot of organizations to actually start creating conversations, to create reminders, to set up appointments. And so as an app, you see how many people are using it? I can guarantee you the most likely the audience that you're trying to reach, if they're on Facebook, they're already using Facebook Messengers. And so my question is to you, for those of you who are attending this webinar, how many of you actually use Facebook Messenger to communicate with each other? Just type yes if you are, no if you're not. I want to have a sense. How many of you? Okay, Paul, Steven, Kimi, yes. Roxanne, no. Ray, Fernandez, no. Giovanna, yes. Okay, so a lot of you, most of you are saying yes. Moises, a big yes. Sandra, no. So a lot of you are actually using Facebook Messenger to communicate with each other, all right? So can you use Facebook Messenger as a way for your organization to start creating engagement with, possible clients? Definitely. Can you use Facebook Messenger as a way to actually remind, if you are running a group, okay, if you have a prevention group that actually runs once a week, can you use Facebook Messenger as a way to remind them for them to come the next week, or to actually talk about or do follow-up in some of the topics that you discuss? Yes, you can. And so, and the way that you do that is within the Facebook Messenger app, you actually can set up talking points to start creating that engagement. Okay? And so, as you can see, I'm sort of actually showing you some of the things that you can do. Look at the stats in terms of how many people are using it, If your audience are using Facebook, that is great. Okay, what about people that are using Instagram? Well, there are also ways that you can actually use Instagram as a way for you to create engagement within the app as well and start creating conversations, okay? In a few more slides, I'm going to create it and show you some very cool tools that you can use to start creating some chat bots or creating, automated messages as well. All right. So Paul, sometimes it's the only way I can communicate with certain clients. That is true. That is true. Sometimes that's the only way because they respond to that better than anything else. Like there are some organizations that actually talk to their clients, and the only way they can talk to them is via text. And so if you have that technology and that actually shows the best way for you to communicate with your clients, use it, okay? But think about also how you can use it to also, go wider, be able to engage them, be able to retain them, and be able to promote what you're actually currently doing, okay? And so I just mentioned, somebody becomes they like your business page, immediately you can set up an automated message, welcome them and, and thanking them for actually becoming part of your page, and just tell them what they should expect from your page, and if they have any additional questions. That's a way for you to start creating the conversation, okay? This is technology that is free. It doesn't cost you anything, okay? All right, any questions, comments, concerns? All right, so let me ask you this. So which mobile social networking apps are you using to promote your HIV care services? Actually, I have here a poll that is going to show in a little bit, so I want you to vote if you can. Do we have it set up that way, Zach, or I can't remember if we set it up that way. There we go, yes. So these are the apps based on the stats that we just saw just minutes ago. I want to have a sense from you, from the attendees of this webinar, which apps you're using the most. Okay, so we got 60%, 66%. We got Facebook and Facebook Messenger. All right. Anyone using WhatsApp? Is anyone using WhatsApp for your programs? I want to see it. It seems like no one is using WhatsApp. Okay. Interesting, because there's a lot of things that you can actually do with WhatsApp. You know who owns WhatsApp? Facebook. Facebook owns it. All right. And there's actually a lot of businesses using WhatsApp as a way to also communicate with their clients and create engagement. And so this is something that we can certainly explore on a free personalized TA if it makes sense, if your audience actually are using WhatsApp. But it's another tool out there available, again, for free, okay? All right, so let's see. We have, and let's close. We're going to end the poll right now. All right, so we got, Facebook. A lot of you Facebook. All right, let me actually now. All right, Moises, it's better to have a page than a profile. Yes, definitely, definitely. The page actually will give you a lot more information than a profile. Okay, the page will actually tell you exactly who's actually looking at your content, the demographics, the age, the gender, their interest, and so if you want to use that information as a way for you to know exactly what to post and how your audience is responding to it, then the Facebook page is something that you need to have. A profile doesn't give you any of that information because a profile is mostly used for personal use, right? For entertainment use. But a business page, the purpose of a business page is because you're trying to create engagement. You want to reach your audience. You want to reach your clients, your customers. And so the purpose of the page is to promote yourself, your products and services. And also, if you are creating Facebook ads, you need a page. Okay? So if you have a little bit of money aside that you can actually use to create some cool Facebook ads, you need to have a page. Okay? So that's the other reason why you want to have a Facebook page. All right? Okay, so Johnny, how you doing? Great to see you here. How can we use WhatsApp? Okay, so WhatsApp is basically a mobile app. It's a text messaging app. You can actually text to each other. You can put pictures. You can do videos in there. But within WhatsApp, there are actually settings that you can actually create in which you can create automated messages as well. And so basically what happens is this, is when people when people actually are trying to communicate with you via WhatsApp, there is a number that you can give them. And as they're actually texting that number, they can actually get personalized messages as well. If WhatsApp is one of the apps that actually they use a lot to communicate with each other, it makes sense. And so from that perspective, there are some best practices in terms of how to use it correctly that we can go over, whether it's we do it on a personalized TA or we do it in another webinar, but there are some best practices that you want to use. Because the idea is this: if your audience is using WhatsApp as a mean of communication, there's ways that you can set up a WhatsApp business account that you can use also to communicate with them as well, okay? And so from that perspective, there's a lot of things that go along with it too. And so in terms of engagement, in terms of creating messages, and so on. So that's the sort of actually the short description on how you can use WhatsApp. Obviously, we can expand into more. If you have additional questions, we can actually talk, after the webinar or on another day. But I just wanted to give you a very short overview in how WhatsApp can actually be used for businesses as well. Okay. Ray, you said Grindr and Scruff. Okay, so you've been using Grindr, Scruff. I've used Grindr for other grantees, helping to promote some of the products and services, and Grindr has been great, and has been a great dating app to use. Scruff is actually, they have a free version, and it's free for any organization that actually provides services to the LGBT population. And so you can actually use a Scruff. If you're providing services to them, they actually have a form that you need to fill out, okay, in order for them to review it, and they will allow you to advertise for free. Now, here's one other thing, though. Between Grindr and Scruff, Grindr has a lot more reach, of course. It's a lot bigger. So you need to check if a Scruff has a very strong presence in your local area. If they do, then it actually makes sense for you to promote your services there if your audience is actually using Scruff, okay? So you might wanna take a look at that. Okay, and so Ray said, okay, Grindr, Scruff. Jasmine, never thought about using WhatsApp for this particular project. Well, part of the question is your audience using WhatsApp, and does it make sense for you to actually use it if they are communicating via that app? We can explore that option. We can explore Facebook Messenger. We can explore, making sure that you create some personalized content. You have a budget, explore a little bit of creating some social media ads. There's so many things that you can do that, we can certainly cover, on a different time. But, WhatsApp is a great way also to engage with your audience. As I noticed that WhatsApp has a business portion within it that you can actually have access to it, okay? Right, Johnny, I would love to know how to incorporate WhatsApp in my program. Well, if you think your audience is using WhatsApp, we can talk more about it, all right? So, we can certainly have a discussion via email or request TA, and we can certainly actually just do a TA based on that, if that makes sense for you. Kimi, yes, Page is better. I had a profile for a project until it got hacked, and Facebook shut it down because my ID doesn't state the project name. Lost of thousands of friends. Yes, it happens. There was another grantee who actually was in Texas who actually, they actually had a Facebook page and it was hacked. It was so hard for her to get that page back. And so there's a lot of actually, questions that you need to answer. You go back and forth with Facebook just to make sure that everything that you tell them is legit. So, so it happens. Says Johnny, thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. So keep the questions coming, guys. This is good. Let's actually go to the next slide really quick. All right, so let's talk about text messenger reminders. All right, here's one thing that I wanna, when we talk about reminders, we most of the time we're thinking about setting up, reminders for appointments. But there's so many things that we can do with this. All right, so think about this. So why would an HIV care service provider want to use text messaging or appointments and medication reminders? Well, because your clients are probably already texting. Most likely they are. The clients prefer text appointments reminders over other reminders methods like voicemail or email, okay? Texted reminders may help reduce no-show rates and increase treatment compliance. So think about that. Text, what's the percentage of people that open their text? 99.9% of people open their text. And so when you compare that versus via email and other platforms, you know that you actually will have most of your audiences, if not all, reading their text. And so when you start thinking about from that perspective, how is it that you can position yourself, you can actually create messenger reminders, not only to remind them about an appointment, but also to sort of actually communicate, to educate, to bring awareness. There's so many things that you can do. You can create campaigns when it comes to using texting for that matter. And so, excuse me. And so think about that. And when you actually use it strategically, you know that you're going to get a better engagement and retention rate because you're going to be constantly communicating with them. And so think about how you can actually start doing that and using that. There's actually, I'm going to provide to you in a little bit some texting platforms that you actually can check out in order for you to be able to do that. So I'm going to give you an example really quick here in how you can use texting. In this case, this example is for setting up an appointment, okay? But I want you, as you actually see this example, I want you to start thinking how you can actually use it for your own program, all right? Based on, if you know your audience really well, based on the needs of your audience, based on how you communicate with them, how can you use it to remind them for a next session that you may have, how you can use them to continue the conversation, and there are tips, advice, or next steps that you actually have talked about in a in-person group. Can you actually grab that and also actually send it to them via text? So that way they're constantly reminded in terms of how they can actually decrease their chances of, whether we're talking about, we're talking about risk protected factors, how actually we can actually reduce those, how can they actually have a healthier lifestyle, how if they're in a different situation, a situation where they don't know what kind of decision they need to make because they have a lot of pressure. We're talking about, how they can actually have, safe sex. If we're talking about how they can actually take care of themselves, by, getting tested every 6 months for HIV, if they actually have, if they actually do this, and you can have bullet points, if they do certain things on a daily basis. And so there's so many things that you can do when it comes to texting, okay? And so here's the thing. I want you to start thinking about you can actually have a multi-approach when it comes to communicating. We're talking about texting, we talk about social media, and we talk about website. So we got website, mobile apps, and texting. Look at that. You have a sort of multi-approach when it comes to communicating to your audience. What that does, it increases the chances, the rates of them responding to your message, okay? Because some will respond better to texting, others will respond better to social media. And so when you actually have a strategy that actually touches all those different channels, you will see that some of your audience will respond better to one versus the other, okay? And so as I'm actually showing you this and explaining to you how some of this actually work, I want you to start thinking about how you could see yourself using this for your own program, for your own organization, okay? So this is actually a website called Oregon Reminders, okay? Through this website, you can set up customized text message reminders and also email and voice for, regular HIV testing, daily medication reminders, prescription refill reminders, weekly health tips and life advice. And so as you can see, you control the message. The reminder is just a tool, right? But you control the message. And so, so I'm going to show you, how this is actually being done. So if we can actually show the video in the next slide, Zach, I appreciate it.
Great. So I just want to come on and say that anybody who is on the phone, the video is only going to play through your computer speakers, so you'll just have to turn those up just for the video, and then when it's over, make sure to turn your computer speakers back off again.
Everyone's health is different, but we all have one thing in common. We're busy. And sometimes we forget things, important things. So it helps to get a little reminder. In Oregon, there's an easy way to get text, voice, and email reminders that fit into your busy day.
time to get tested for HIV and other STDs every 3 to 6 months.
Hello. Yes, I'd like to make an appointment. Manny Hendricks. 12 Tuesday? That sounds great. Thank you so much.
You decide when to get them. They're discreet and can help keep you healthy. Signing up takes less than 3 minutes. Go to OregonReminders.org. Sign up with your email and phone number. Choose your reminder. Click Add Reminder and bam, you're good to go. Choose, customize, or create your own messages. They're free, confidential, and super simple. Log in, go to your reminders, make changes and save. That's it. When it comes to your health, a little reminder goes a long way. Sign up for yours today.
Hey, Carlos, this is Zach. I think you're on mute.
Hello, are you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we can hear
Thank you. All right, thank you, Zach, for the video. I appreciate it. So, I'm showing you this, and I want to have a sense in terms of, I want you to start thinking about how you can actually use some of these technologies when it comes to your prevention or intervention or treatment group, how you can use it not only for reminders, but as a way for you to actually, to keep them engaged, between now and next week when you come and see them again, by actually reminding them some of the topics that you discussed when you actually met with them face to face. Now, when you do that, you're present with them 24/7 rather than actually waiting to see them until next week. For the most likely, you end up having less people than what you had before, right? Because people, tend to sort of not show up. They drop from the list of people that actually were, attending your programs. And so what you want to do is actually use this technology as a way to keep them engaged, as a way for you to keep them interested. And so, so that's one of the examples I want to show you. This is an example of a text reminder for appointments, for prescriptions, but you can use them for anything else, okay? Now, let me actually just show you another one here. And this is interesting. I should have actually added the video on this one because I think the video actually is funny. They do a very good job in actually promoting the app. And so, but this is a bedside.org, okay? It's an online birth control support network for women between the ages of 18 and 29. It's operated by Power to Decide, a campaign to prevent unplanned pregnancy. So Power to Decide works to ensure that every young person has the power to decide if, when, and under what circumstances to get pregnant, increasing their opportunity to pursue the future they want. Okay, so that's the way they describe this. And so basically, it's a reminder for them to, take birth control. And if you think about it, though, they actually have a niche. they have an audience. They're very clear on who the audience is, and they're very clear what the message is. And so this is a very cool app in that regards because, you know, it's for women, okay? And so when you start seeing some of the possibilities, when you start seeing how some of this mobile technology is being used for health-related services, it sort of actually opens your mind to start thinking how it can be used for prevention services, intervention service, for HIV, you know, for the, if you actually are providing housing services. So for many of the services that you provide, this is technology that's already available for you to use, okay? And so the idea of me showing you this is for you to sort of, you know, for you to be aware that these actually mobile technologies exist, and so for you to start thinking, how can I use this for my own program? Is there a benefit? And so, you know, I wanted to sort of actually show you now, look, these are some of the text messaging platforms that are out there available, and they're very popular. Easy Texting is one of them. Again, you can go there and actually set up text reminders. I don't want you to sort of actually just think about reminder for appointment, but think about how you can still actually do, you know, use this technology as a way to actually create prevention messages or intervention messages that will be actually useful for the audience that you're serving, okay? Twilio is one that actually I've used personally more from the development part of it. It's actually, I've used Twilio to, as a developer, to set up some reminders for businesses. And so I've done that, not for prevention, but for businesses. And so I incorporate Twilio, for example, into a database that somebody has. And if that person has a cell phone number, I can incorporate Twilio within that database. And if they can click text, so any message that they write within their platform is going to be texted automatically. You can actually have Twilio to read your messages or call you and leave your voicemail. So this Twilio is a very powerful platform as well. So from the developing standpoint, I have experience because I worked with Twilio in that regard. So I created some mobile, you know, some app applications for businesses. Now, Patient Prompt and Point Fix, I haven't used them. I haven't worked with them, but they actually are very similar to Easy Texting, okay? The Patient Prompt and Point Fix are more towards the, you know, healthcare related services, but again, you can use them for any other purposes that you see fit within your organization and within your program as well, okay? So I wanted to give you these 4 options. There are many others, but the idea here is not to overwhelm you with information, but to give you options that could be balanced based on the needs that you might have, okay? Thank you, Wilma, for being on the webinar. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. All right, so let's actually now let's talk a little bit about Shad Bots, okay? And so, you know, we got about Shad Bot is just another app that you can actually use that when you actually showcase, for example, you go into a Facebook page, you know, the chat box can appear. And actually, it can start actually asking you questions based on what you're looking for, okay? And so this is another tool that you can program within Facebook. But there are also many third-party tools that you can use to program your chatbots. And so let's actually, if you don't mind, Zach, let me actually share my screen because I want to show a couple of things here. Okay, we are going to all right, so let me actually show a couple of things here. Okay, so okay. Let's see if I can actually open one. Sorry guys, I wanted to make sure that I show you something here really quick. All right, so here's what I wanted to show you. This is what you see right now on the screen on the slide is this, okay? So this is a helper reminder bot, meaning that when you actually visit a page, a Facebook page, for example, there's a message already pre-developed that you already wrote, you have written already for your audience. So in this case, it says, "Hi, JC, I'm Health Reminder, a bot that can remind people to do HIV tests regularly." And then give some actually tips, right, in terms of, sexual intercourse, sharing of blades, some things that you wouldn't want to do to increase your chances of getting HIV. And so in here, actually, this happens right after you actually become a fan or you like a particular page. And so this is cool because what happens is if somebody's actually liking your page, it's because they're interested in the topic that you're discussing, right? In what you actually, in the information that you are creating and the content that you've been writing for that particular audience. So this is another way for you to start that conversation. Now, one of the things that I wanted to highlight is this actually was created by a tool that is called ChatFuel, and which is this one over here, okay? And so within this tool, okay, you can actually they have different templates that you can choose from if you want to create personalized messages. And so I wanted to show you this because here's one thing that I wanted to show you here. Let's see if I can actually go to the home page really quick. All right, so it's sending me back to the tool again. But one of the things is you can create your first bot for free. And so it allows you to start actually testing some of these templates. They don't charge you anything. They have actually a pro version. And so if you want a pro version, one of the things is that when you create a bot, they don't have the brand. They don't have the logo of ChatFuel, right? And so there are some actually benefits in considering the pro version, which is about $30 a month. But you can start actually testing out with the free version as well, okay? So as you can see, there are actually templates that you can use without necessarily starting from scratch. And so I wanted to show you this tool because this was the tool that it was actually used to create this bot, okay? All right, and so again, I'm showing you how these tools are being used. I'm showing you some of the technologies available that I can help you create some of these reminders, some of these conversation starters. If you request TA, we can come in and we can set it up together. I can show you how to do it and sort of actually put a strategy behind it. Remember, everything has to have a goal. So it's not just a matter of you just, you're chatting with somebody, but what's the goal? Do you want him to come and see you? Do you want him to sort of register for a group? So a goal has to, you have to be very clear what the goal is because that's based on that goal, you're going to actually write a message that will support that goal. And so you have to be very clear in terms of what you want and what you need, okay? All right, so let's go back to my presentation. All right, so any questions? Okay, great question, Fran. Carlos she's talking about privacy concerns. When you actually have Shad Bots, so you give access to third-party tools, think about this. What happens is this. Facebook, okay, anything that you put on Facebook, it's open. Anything that you put on the internet, everybody will have access to it. However, you're able to control the information that you share within your Facebook, even within third-party apps. And so it's within your settings. If you actually want to give permission to the apps to access your profile. What does that mean? When they're actually asking permission to access your profile, they're saying, hey, can we access your interests? Can we access the pages that you follow, the pages that you like, the content that you're interested in? Can we access all of that? Because what happens is when the apps access that, then they start actually creating content based on your interest, okay? So in my for my personal experience, I've given access to certain apps in terms of the information that I have on my Facebook profile because I'm interested. I use those apps and I'm interested in their products and services. Now, the question that you need to be clear is the app that you're using and the chatbot that you're using is for you to engage with a person, but about promoting specific services or providing several tips or providing recommendations, but not to provide counseling, okay? And so this is one thing that you need to be very, very careful. These tools is not for you to discuss anyone's particular case because it's online. And what happens when information is online? It can be accessed by anyone, or it can be actually copied and pasted and put it somewhere else. So when we're talking about HIPAA compliant, you want to make sure that no health records are actually revealed by using these apps. So in other words, the message that is behind this technology has nothing to do with a specific person's health records, but it's more about a message in general that has to do with prevention or has to do about a cause. So we're talking about substance misuse and HIV care services, but it doesn't go back or it traces back to one particular individual, okay? So that's the cool thing about this, is because you're able to create content in which you are promoting a service or you're promoting a topic in order for you to have people coming into your organization, okay? So, all right, so let's see. Let me actually ask you, next slide here. Do you see an important usage of chat bots or text messaging reminders for your HIV care services or substance abuse prevention services? If you do, tell me yes and why. If no, why not? I want to have a sense. How important do you see this, and what kind of use do you actually think that you can actually give to these mobile apps? How will you use them? Give me an idea here. All right, so give me an idea here. How can you use right, Maria Buckley, to promote an event coming up? Yes, you can certainly do that. The nice thing about this, I think one of the things that actually we are, I see that a lot of grantees and organizations, don't take advantage of is actually being able to send text to to the people that they're serving about reminding of events or reminding them of specific sessions or services. And so, some of them actually use email, and that's great. But I think you have to have an approach in which you use multiple platforms to reach your audience. Because remember, your audience will respond better to one platform versus the other. And so you have to take that into consideration. So we do see the importance, but on a case-by-case basis. I agree, particularly considering clients' individual challenges in, like transitional living or no phone. Yes, I think this is who's going to actually tell you whether this makes sense for you is your audience. So if you're actually working with an audience where they actually don't have access to a cell phone, obviously some of this might not make sense, right? But you might have another group in which they heavily use cell phones. They might not be smartphones, but actually can use cell phones in which they're able to receive and send text. So something like this will be helpful for you to have, maybe, okay? And so as I'm seeing some of this, some of these answers, I want you to start thinking strategically, right? What's the goal, and why am I going to use some of these apps? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? And so when we talk about, substance abuse prevention, for example, if you actually are running a program, you can actually use some of these apps to remind or to continue the conversation, right? Now, let's suppose that what you want to do right now, you want to promote something. You're promoting a program that is going to be happening in the next 4 weeks. Can you use some of these apps to do that? You can actually start creating your own chatbots from your Facebook pages and Instagram accounts as well to do that. Because you're already there, you already have a page there, you might as well use that technology too, right? Because if you're asking people to follow you, to like you, to follow your page, might as well have a message that as soon as they click like, it's a personalized message to that particular individual highlighting why they should follow you, why they should care about the content that you're producing, okay? Remember that people are already following other pages, they're probably getting reminders and other things, so you have to be unique and you have to show them what's the value in them following you or getting reminders by you. So that's something that is very important, okay? You have to tell them why and how getting reminded by you, how that's going to help them, okay? So that needs to be part of your communication strategy. That needs to be part of what you're going to write when you are creating this personalized message, okay? All right, Maria, add educational description about a group? Definitely. I mean, the sky is the limit in terms of you can use it. But the reason why I'm asking this question is because I want to start having a sense in terms of if you see the potential, if you see how well you can use these apps in order for you to start creating increasing engagement, retention, to continue promoting your products, programs, and services to an audience that are constantly communicating with each other, using mobile technology. Let's see. Let's actually. I'm going to end the poll. I want to see some of the answers here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you see that, yeah, it could be useful to remind individuals, read intervention materials like role model stories, yes. Regular testing schedule and a common assessment for project participants, yes. Would be a great way to remind people about a group they should attend, definitely. Yeah, we're talking about testing frequency, promoting new services or changes as well, yeah, if you have changes. So to promote free HIV testing and services, you're saying, yes, this will be helpful for interventions to maintain appointments and to ensure that clients are successfully meeting goals. All right, so you get it. You understand the importance of this, and you can see yourself probably using it. And so, one of the things that is important to note is that as you are drafting these messages, remember who your audience is, and you need to tell them why it's important they actually follow you. What's the value they're going to get once you're sending text reminders, okay? So that's very important. And so you need to actually think a little bit in terms of what, they will respond better if you're very transparent. They would respond better if you actually tell them exactly what the benefits are. Because if they see value in their lives, if they see value in terms of the information that you're sharing with them, they will actually wouldn't mind for you to be texting them or sending messages, okay? So you see the potential. I show you some of the apps, some of the tools that you can use. Some of this you can actually start using it for free. As you grow in terms of the number of users, they have plans in which you pay on a monthly basis. But you can always actually start a plan for free for you to start testing things out and see how people respond, okay? All right, any other questions, concerns? Any comments? Okay. Are you still here with me? Did I lose you? Do you fall asleep? Are you eating? Are you looking at other tabs? You went out on the internet and started there's no way for me to actually see that. But Edgardo, thank you. You said I'm here. Appreciate it. Ian, my friend. Thanks, man. Okay, Ray. Thank you, Edgardo. Paul, howdy. Aquí estoy. Kimi, great. Steven, yes, I'm here. Good. Is this something, as I'm talking about this, do you see value in all the information that we talked about? I want to have a sense in where you are right now. Any value? Do you think this is valuable? Do you think this is useful? Can you see yourself or your organization using some of these tools? Do you think you will benefit from it? Just give me a yes or no. Kimi, very useful. My to-do list is getting longer. Yes, I understand that. That's why, here's what I want to tell you is that, thank you, Stephen, yes, definitely. Gerald, yes. Ray, yes. Kellen, yes. Okay, you're saying this is very useful. The idea of us doing this webinar to show you these different mobile technologies is not to overwhelm you, but it's to show you what else you can do, to show you that there's technology out there that have not been used in a way that actually could make a difference in your program. And we wanted to show you, make you aware of that, this technology, they already exists for you, okay? And of course, we're not saying go ahead and start doing it tomorrow, because I know there's so many things out there that you can start doing, right? And you might say, okay, where do I start? And so the idea is actually you start by knowing exactly what your goal is and knowing who your audience is. Once you know what your goal is and knowing who your audience is, then you'll actually, you'll make a decision in which mobile app or which technology will make sense for you to start with, okay? From there, you can always expand. But we want to make sure that you understand that there's also a huge opportunity when it comes to engagement, when it comes to retention, when we start using mobile apps, okay? And so that's the idea of this webinar. If you think this is something that fits within your communication strategy, and this is something that you want to have more information on, or you want to have more personalized free TA, okay, request it. We'll be more than happy to help you, okay? But I wanted to make sure that you understand all the different things that you can do. Doesn't mean that you're going to do them all, but once you have a very good idea, you're going to prioritize based on your goals and based on your audience, which one makes sense for you. Because what makes sense for you as an organization might make sense for somebody, you have somebody else who will actually use something else because their audience and the goals and resources are totally different. It's what makes sense for you as an organization and might make sense for your audience as well, okay? All right, so Paul, and it's a great way of getting in touch with clients, especially when out of the office when doing outreach. Yes, a lot of these texting tools and mobile apps, they're being used for that. Paul, I would like a good free mobile app with client database when doing outreach. What do you mean by that, Paul? If you can expand a little bit more on that, and maybe I'll be able to answer that while actually I move to the next slide. All right, so let's talk about dating apps. We're talking about Grindr, OkCupid, Tinder, Scruff. And so here's one thing that I want to make sure that you see, and why is it that I highlight dating apps. If your audience, okay, if you're talking about, sex-related services, we're talking about sexual health-related services, right? If we're talking about HIV, even if we talk about substance abuse prevention, does it make sense for you to have a presence on these dating apps? And the answer to that is yes, because most likely your audience is already there. And so, so one of the things that I want to make sure that you see here is that, when we talked about, dating apps, is that, according to the Pew Research Center, about 15% of adults in the United States are now using online or mobile matchmaking services to seek potential partners, up from 11% that actually reported doing so in early 2013, okay? So dating apps and sites can play a powerful role in raising awareness about HIV, STD, substance abuse, stigma, discrimination. So when you actually look at it from that perspective, you might want to think about, should we include one of these apps as part of our online communication strategy? Does it make sense? Do we have the resources to do that? Do we know which dating apps are the ones that our local audiences are using? And so it's actually worth having a conversation, because you'll be surprised how much success you can have if you really actually implement a very good campaign, okay? Again, I've seen it with some grantees, which I have helped them create campaigns in Grindr. And so we've seen the results that we have gotten. And we know, because the audience that they were reaching, they were already there, and they were actually responsive to the message. So the barrier was very low in terms of engagement, in terms of retention, okay? And so the reason why I wanted to touch a little bit on this is because I see that as we're talking about mobile apps, we're talking about texting reminders, one of the things that, we tend not to use a lot is dating apps. In dating apps, it's one of the things that, a lot of people now are using it. You are actually just heard the stats that I just showed you. Now, here's a question. How many of you are using dating apps? No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. No one you to. I want to know. I was just testing you out, guys. It's just I was just kidding. So, just joking. But how many of you, okay, are already using dating apps to promote your program? Not for you, to promote your program. So, how many of you are using dating apps to promote your program? I want to know. Let me know. Moises, oh my God, don't worry, man. I was just kidding. Okay. Hopefully they'll invite me back for the next webinar. So how many of you are using dating apps right now? Just to want to have a sense. Maria, we are. Which dating app are you using, Maria? Ray, you are. If you can tell me which dating app you're using, that would be great. Grindr. Okay. And have you had some good results with Grindr? And those who actually have used Scruff, I want to hear from you. I haven't used Scruff. I'm exploring it for another grantee, but what has been your experience in using Scruff to promote your programs? If you want to let us know, that'd be great. Okay, let's see. Okay, girl, you're not using it right now, but you plan to introduce them later. Maria, excellent results, great. And so I'm glad that you're having good results with Grindr. Yes, we have had some very good results as well. Okay, so Ray, you said not getting people who contact us to come into the offices for testing. So are you using a Scruff? What kind of results, Ray, are you getting with Scruff? Moises, we have used in our organization. Okay, so you have used dating apps in the past, but not anymore. I have not knowledge in how to use that. I'm feeling in the wrong place with a lot of people just looking fun. Okay, desperately. All right. Okay. All right. So part of it is actually if you're not sure if dating apps is or how to actually go about using dating apps to promote your program and services, we can certainly help you with that if it makes sense for your audience and for your organization. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed even if you don't know. It might just be that you don't know how to use it, but it might make sense to use it. And so actually there's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's nothing hard in terms of actually using dating apps successfully. Okay. Maria, over 60% of your clients have come from Grindr. Okay, so let me ask you this. When you say that you have used Grindr as a way to promote your products and services, so are you creating campaigns on Grindr, or you created a profile and you're promoting your services through that profile for, you're promoting it for free? How is it that you're doing this? Are you creating campaigns? Which you create banner ads? Let me know more. Okay, Maria, just the profile. All right, yes. And so there's actually organizations out there that create a profile, right? And the purpose of the profile is just to promote health-related services, right? And so, that works really well. There are other, grantees out there that actually decide to create campaigns, which we've done, created campaigns for other grantees. You create a profile, you run the risk that you might get shut down because you're promoting something in which Grindr actually charges. Now, Grindr actually has some very good prices in regards to working with nonprofits as well. But okay, so yes, Moises, we had a profile, but seeing the last message, the first request from client is send me picture. Yes, it happens. It happens. You look at the nature of the app, right? All right, so one of the things I wanted to touch base a little bit on Grindr because I've used Grindr. We've had some good results with Grindr, so I wanted to just actually show you some stats in regards to why you might want to actually consider using dating apps, not necessarily because you might actually just reach in the LGBT community, but even if you're working with a straight community, dating apps actually make sense for you to promote your services as well. So, but look at at some of the stats here and why it made sense for us to actually use Grindr to promote HIV and substance abuse prevention services. The buying power, look at the LGBT market, controls about $884 billion in buying power in the U.S. That's a lot of money, okay? So they have a good disposable income, which same-sex households have 23% higher median income compared to straight households. The brand loyalty, in terms of the LGBT consumers, are 2.06 times more likely to buy from the companies they trust, okay? And about 88% of them would go out of their way to buy brands advertising gay media. So when you look at that and your audience falls with that, within that category, it makes sense for you to have a presence. Have you noticed how, I usually advise grantees and organizations to create campaigns or have a presence based on research, based on stats that will support that, so we don't actually waste time and resources, right? Going after a platform that we think is going to work without really knowing if our audience is going to support that. So that's why I always show this, all right? So look at this in terms of the daily usage. One thing that I want to point out here is that, when we're talking about other social media apps, and we're talking about the daily use, we know that Grindr is being used about 54 minutes a day. Now, and Facebook, about 50. Now, you combine Facebook and you combine dating apps as two platforms to promote your products and services, you're going to have very, very good results. We've used Facebook to promote substance abuse prevention services for this particular grantee, and it worked really, really well. And so, because for the most part, our audience were already there too. And so, so when you combine that with any other dating app, then you're actually going to have a very good result, because you're going to have, you're going to have your message in multiple platforms, right? And so the idea of me showing you this is so you can actually see too, from the statistical point of view, if it makes sense for you to invest money or to invest resources and time to promote your programs and services in those apps. All right. So, in terms of Grindr, it actually works the same with other dating apps as well. They have this, so when users open the app, they see text-based ads that inform users about local events, offers, or in this case, HIV care services. So when actually they log in, they actually have this pop-up message, okay? And so basically, the cool thing about this is that you can target basically your audience by radius. So in other words, you want to target your audience base that they live in a 10, 50-mile radius from your organization, ethnicity, age, relationship types, or the type of devices that they're using. So you can be as very narrow as you want to be, and so which is great. And so the thing about this, though, when you actually have messages like that, right there, that's the first thing that they see when they log in within the app, okay? And you can have this message be linked to a website. Remember when we talked about landing pages? So when you combine that, that is awesome, because when actually they click on your landing page, they actually read more about the message that you are promoting here. So in other words, you actually are educating them, okay? And so when they go to the landing page, you actually finish the education process, because you're able to answer, some of the questions that they might have in their mind when they actually read this message, okay? So that's the way that we used it. That's the way that we developed it for this particular grantee, and it worked really well. All right. This is another couple of, these are called full screen and interstitials. So they're high impact ads, as you can see. They're full screen, and they appear once the user swipes to their profiles, okay? So again, these ads will be linked to your mobile-friendly website, your phone number, or email address. And so you control pretty much the message, and you control the design. And basically, this particular format that I'm showing you is the same for any other dating apps that you want to advertise on, okay? I'm just showing you Grindr as an example, but you can apply the same with any other dating app as well, all right? Okay, so any questions, comments so far? Wanted to have a sense how we doing here? Let's see here. Okay, so that is actually the end of this webinar. That was actually the last slide. So any questions, any comments? Look at this. We actually ended a few minutes before 2:30 Eastern time, which is awesome. For the most part, we actually tend to run a little bit late, meaning that we have a couple of minutes for questions and answers, but at the same time, we want to highlight again, if you are interested in free technical assistance, you already know what, Wilma was very specific in terms of what the process is, and so you need to contact your GPO, okay? So, all right, questions. Maybe Ian can help me answer this question. I don't want to answer it. How soon is TA normally approved? That actually varies based on my experience, but anybody else want to jump in from AHP, that would be awesome.
That is a great question, and I'm just going to go through these TA slides. And I think you're right, Carlos. It varies on the nature of what type of TA, but my understanding is they try to quickly approve it, so it is timely and useful. And Fran's typing into the question box there as well. Very quickly, she says, and that's my understanding as well, because SAMHSA wants you guys to get the TA that you need, and they will move through that process quickly. So some of the TA type of assistance, we can help in the process of creation and implementation of your marketing campaigns. The TA technical assistance we provide can help you come up with some goals, can help you design your landing page, making sure that you're on the right social media platform or platforms, as we learned today. There's lots of them. evaluating your budget, looking at how much it's going to cost you, trying to be cost effective. As we're stewards of public dollars, we always want to be as cost effective as we can, and measuring the campaign results to actually show that this campaign is actually reaching people and actually getting people to act and to come into your programs and to engage. So that is kind of an overview in the context of what Carlos is talking today about how we can help you actually set up these. And yes, we're coming up on a slide that's going to show you the TA process here. It's super easy. Go to SPARS, talk to your GPO, go to SPARS, and fill out the form and submit it. And we'll have a little slide that will reiterate that. But there's some examples of some of the types of TA, and again, we'll go over that process request right after this slide, so you guys have a sense of really how easy it is. Sustainability, how to continue your services and programs. Braiding different funding streams can be a critical element, so you have the continuation of your project beyond the grant period. Training and evidence-based intervention, EBIs. Evidence-based interventions are very popular, and it's definitely a way that you can improve your outcomes. Of course, social media, and technology, which we just covered today expertly by Carlos. Recruitment, engagement, retention. And remember, some of these TAs can overlap. If you're going to use outreach in the context of recruitment, engagement, if you're going to use social media, perhaps to retain your clients, to keep tabs on them and to remind them to come in. It's available throughout the U.S. It's no charge. That's a key thing to remember. They're not going to charge your program for that. This is covered by SAMHSA. You can often get continuing education credits, which you can also get for this webinar, which we will provide how to do that at the last slide. How to request TA. Here's the big question. Talk to your GPO, and if you don't know who your GPO is, you can get in touch with us, and we can identify that person. Chit-chat with them about what you need. And then with their guidance and approval, if they say, hey, that sounds like a good use of TA, then just fill out the TA request on SPARS. There's a technical assistance tab, and there's the link right there. And as Wilma Pinnock told us, just submit the form. That's it. Easy as really. Talk to your GPO, and then 1, 2, 3, go to SPARS, fill out the form, and submit it. And again, we will try to, they will approve it as rapidly as possible and approve it. You can obtain continuing education hour credits for this event. There's an evaluation online. There's a link there, and I believe you guys will get access to these slides afterwards, if you can, or you can just copy this link right now. Just do the little quiz, and then it'll be create a certificate, and then you will get those credits that you need. And let me make sure I have everything else here. And so yeah, we'll go to the last slide, and if there's looks like there's a hearty dialogue going on in the chat box here. So. Yeah, so yeah, we can always jump in, as the TA provider. We can help facilitate if there is some just click on the link for the survey. That's right. We can provide some troubleshooting and figure out maybe if there's a problem or why it's not going through, etc. Folks are having a problem clicking on the link. I would recommend, if possible, to copy it, and I cannot get the link into the chat box, so if anyone could do that, that would be helpful. And there it is. Thank you so much, Candace. We've got the link right there. You can click on it and just bookmark it, so that way you don't have to fill it out this second, but get that page open. And yeah, so we're coming up at the end of the time, and I don't know if you had any final words, Carlos. I would just like to say thank you for your expertise, and you really covered a lot of ground, and was interesting and moments of humor, which is always nice, and I learned a lot. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you for being here. Remember, a lot of you said that you want TA right away, so request it, okay? And, we'll be able to help you out. Thank you, and have an awesome day, and awesome afternoon.